Welcome into the latest edition of ESPN FC. I'm Dan Thomas, joined by Craig Burley here in the studio. Not a good day to be English, well, certainly when it comes to football, as England lost 4-0 at home against Hungary at Molineux. Gareth Southgate naming quite a young squad, but they laboured throughout as England suffered their heaviest defeat at home since 1928. Big deal?
Well, this tournament as a whole is not a big deal, the Nations League, not in my eyes for the bigger nations, the elite nations, which England are, albeit not off the back of this result tonight. But I think performance within this competition is a big deal. And as you mentioned there, the performances haven't been great. Lost in Hungary, lost again here. This is an awful result, 4-0, huge loss at home. The Germany game was dull and boring. Yes, there was changes. And yeah, he's tinkering a little bit, Gareth Southgate. But I tell you what sums it up for me. One of the things sums it up. And you know this, and anybody who watches this show knows I'm not reacting to a 4-0 defeat. I've said for a long time that the pragmatism of Southgate's approach eventually could be his undoing.
Right.
Now, it wasn't very pragmatic tonight, but generally it has been. But when you lose John Stones to a ridiculous decision, with the replay, I mean, John Stones didn't even lift his arm. I mean, what the hell are these officials looking at? But once they go down to 10 men, they're already 3-0 down. He brings on another centre-half and takes off an attacking player. I know there's only like a few minutes left. Just use the players you've got. Go to your back three. Right. Bring an attacking player on. Try and get a goal back. I mean, what you try to stop it in 5 or 6? I mean, that just sums Southgate up for me. And yes, there's a lot of changes in this team.
But there's a lot of good players.
There's a lot of good players
in that 11.
This performance, this result is not good enough. And there's a lot of people out there, pundits and journalists, that seem to be smarting at the booing from the England fans. And we know what fans are like. They're fickle. You know, they'll cheer you when they win and they'll boo you when you lose. Hey, they're allowed to do that. Mm-hmm. They pay their money.
Yep.
They see that kind of garbage, they can boo. But Southgate has got money in the bank in terms of his job.
Yeah, he's not going. They're not going to change.
There are there's already people out there saying, "Oh, is he going to stay? Is he going to go? Will they keep him? Is he going to be the manager at the World Cup?" Yes, he'll be the manager at the World Cup. The proof will then be in the pudding about all these positive results. Don't forget World Cup semi-final. First time they met, in my opinion, a proper team in Croatia. They got outplayed. Outsmarted, outfoxed. Similar in the Euros to the final. The proof will be in the pudding for Southgate in Qatar. When he takes this talented bunch of players, it'll be about results, but it'll also be about performance. And my question would be, can he not get more out of this group of players than what he's getting in terms of the product on the field?
This is interesting, Jan, because you kind of spin it in both ways, can't you? Given what Craig has said, how inspiring they've been, particularly going forward. What, just the one goal in these 4 matches, and that was a Harry Kane penalty. When you look at all that attacking quality that he has at his disposal, or you could say, end of a long season, glorified friendlies, these mean nothing.
Well, they do mean something. I mean, I agree with the analysis of Craig, but the Nation League thing is important in terms of you build up your credibility. You build up your credibility as a team that you want to support. And Gareth Southgate has been very using that as a phrase, that he wants England to stand behind his team. They are allowed to boo when you lose against Hungary. Of course you are. I mean, I'm not that old, but I love my football history, and I lost 6-3 to Hungary in '53. England went to Budapest and wanted the revenge, and Puskas shot them 7-1 down. And as you were saying, Dan, since 28, they haven't lost that high at home. This is bad for England. And it doesn't matter if it's called Nation League, Europa League, they don't play European Championship or the World Cup. The defense is catastrophic. I mean, you have to sort that out, or you don't have to go to Qatar, because you have no chance in the world with that kind of defense. And another thing is that England now could go down from this group. They could be relegated. That's what Nation League is all about. And then the next time they will have Nation League, they will have weaker a position which is not good for England when they will want to play the best team like they've done now with Germany and Italy. So Gareth Southgate, he can do all the explanation. Yes, the players are tired, of course they are, but you should not lose against Hungary. Salah, the guy who scored the 2 first goals, he plays for Freiburg in the Bundesliga. This year, he has scored 4. Quattro. And today, he scored 2 against England.
Oh. I'm glad you gave us the Spanish translation, just in case.
I thought it was French.
I want to do Hungarian, but I couldn't remember the words.
Give me a Scottish one. I laugh my cotton socks off at that question, that analysis. And I know you threw it out there as the players are tired, it's the end of a long season, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I get that. We've all played, Jan and myself have played in long seasons. And why we wouldn't say it publicly, we've played in these mini tournaments, friendlies at end of the season. We really don't want to be playing in them.
Right.
You're tired and you'd rather be on a holiday. But guess what? The Hungarian players had long seasons also. So please let's not use the tiredness as an excuse, because a lot of tired players around the world at the moment playing football that they shouldn't really be playing. But that's a bigger, deeper, broader subject. But let's not say. And then they'll be up the other side. Well, the Hungarians were up for it more because they're playing against England, as if for some big thing that's going to be knocked off the top of the cliff is some success. Maybe there is a little bit of that, but England had some newbies in the team that would also be super excited to be playing for England at home, trying to impress the manager with a World Cup coming up. That's an inspiration. So I mean, let's just see it for what it is. England were atrocious. And Southgate got a big problem about the balance about his team. What's his best centre-half pairings? Who's his best right-back? There's a few good right-backs. Who's the best one? What's the balance in the middle of the park? How does he rotate all these super attacking players that they have? And Foden and Sterling and Mount and Kane, the list goes on. How does he utilise them? These are good headaches to have, but they are headaches. And big headaches for him if he doesn't get it right.
And he's only got 2 games now, Jan, between now and the start of the World Cup to try and get all the pieces of this jigsaw to fit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a problem for Gareth Southgate. And we also talk tonight about the German game. I saw earlier today a game with a lot of tired players from Germany. They have played a lot of games with Bayern Munich, and in the Premier League, a lot of Rudiger and Werner. Neuer have more or less played 200 games this season. But still, it was a fantastic, good game for Hansi Flick in Germany, winning the credibility back ahead of the World Cup. And as you're saying, you got 2 games. I mean, which players today for England said, hey, listen, I want to be in that starting 11 at the World Cup? I mean, this is your chance. And yes, you're tired, but as Craig is saying, Hungary are more as tired, but they are not as good players. And they still managed to win 4-0. This is, I won't say scandalous, but I don't have other words, because you can't do that. You can't lose 4-0 against Hungary at home in a World Cup year, period.
How much has he missed the trick here by making so many changes, by trying to blood some youngsters?
I don't really have a big problem with that. I think ultimately it can get messy like it did today. I think it's a classic case of, and Jan and I have experienced it with many, many international games, is you can't just throw a makeshift team together and expect it to be brilliant. That being said, you have to do the basics better than how they've done it. I think it's a bigger picture here for me, and I think Southgate's played it well over the last few years, and I don't think he's done it because he wants to paint himself as a sort of nice guy, media friendly. I just think that's how he is. But it is also buying him, along with the results that he has had, whether we can argue about pathways to semi-finals and finals and teams they've played and the way they've played and, Kane getting them out of a few holes, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It's happened. He's bought him that bit of time. His relationship with the media and most of the fans has bought him a bit of time. He's well respected within the FA, but there will be people questioning him when he goes to the World Cup. A bit like Martinez with Belgium and many managers with other talented teams. This is a great opportunity with a very talented bunch. Now, there has been talented England teams before. I understand that. This is one of them.
Right.
And if he has a Roy Hodgson-esque major tournament, when he gets there, he'll be gone.
Sure.
So it's a very fine balancing act, and this is a big step back for him, Daniel. Big step back for these young players who've come into this level of football and will not be enjoying the headlines tomorrow. But welcome to international football. It can be horrible sometimes. It's horrible on the pitch when it goes wrong, and it's horrible the next day when everybody's analysing your performance. There's no hiding place. And I think, as Southgate said himself, he was looking to give some of these players experience, and they got it. A horrible one.
Let's take it now to the aforementioned Germany game. They were in action against Italy. Of course, the other two teams that are in England and Hungary's group, and this was really impressive from the hosts right from the start. They were playing some beautiful football, Germany. 10 minutes into this one, Kimmich would make it 1-0.
Well, Germany, who England beat at the Euros, I suppose that would be the one team you would look at, but they were in the midst of change at that point. This is a very much changed German side, changed coach, and they looked good for a long period in the game against England. So this was another big test for them.
Yeah, they get a penalty here.
Yeah, not a difficult decision.
Gundogan steps up to make it 2-0. And then into the second half, 6 minutes after the break, Thomas Muller makes it 3.
Don't see many Italian defenders. 2 of them let the ball run across the 6-yard box and never cleared it.
And then Timo Werner would get in on the action here.
Even Timo smelt some goals
Yep.
for the season he's had. Unselfishly laid back. I've seen him miss those.
You'd get 2 in 2 minutes, in fact, with Italy messing around at the back. Donnarumma gives it away.
Goalie, always a goalie.
Comes into Werner. Thank you very much. 4-0. 5-0, sorry.
There we go. Just took too long on it, got pressured by Werner, gives it away, and then, yeah, very messy.
This, of course, is a very young Italian side that Mancini has looked to try and give some experience over the last couple of matches, including the likes of Noto here would make it 5-1. And then in injury time, Bastoni makes it 5-2, but really the two flatter Italy, Germany were exceptional today, winning by 5 goals to 2. Just take a look at what that means for the group. Hungary are top, of course they are. 1 point clear of the Germans, who are 1 clear of Italy. England sitting bottom, and as Jan mentioned, facing relegation. Jan, this was really good from Germany today.
It was a very good game. It surprised me, the intensity of the game. It's also a matter that Germany, after 4 times 1-1, they needed to have a good result. But as you were saying, Italy had a young team, but if you went through the team, there was still some good players in there. I mean, the key to Germany, and Craig was talking about the balance in the team, how important that is. Today they had Gundogan, Kimmich in there. They could also put in Goretzka there, which make the balance in the team great. You know, always have Müller running around in and between, which he could make even more noise. Mané will do the Bayern instead of Lewandowski. But it was also interesting when you see the team here they don't play with a typical number 9, and that is also interesting. But I think Hansi Flick we're talking about a pragmatic coach. We also talk about a coach that find a good balance, and he's winning slowly the credibility back. And Germany has used these Nation League games well in terms of winning their crowd back. They need that because in Germany as well, second is no option, and after some bad championship, they need to have a good championship now in Qatar.
Let's remind you of the odds going into the World Cup when it comes from a German perspective. Going into the World Cup, obviously Brazil are favourites as it stands. England are second favourites. France coming in at third. You have to go to sixth favourites. Germany.
I was getting a bit worried for you there.
Hey, I was there. Don't
padding
worry.
away.
Germany,
I wasn't going to help you.
Germany 11-1. I tell you what, if you give me $50 now, I'm going Germany ahead of
England. Those odds haven't changed after this.
No, they won't change after this result.
Well,
who's doing these bets? Who is doing that?
Yeah, who is?
My money's on Germany ahead of England, for example, all day long.
Absolutely.
No?
Close.
Yeah, they will. They will.
Close. I mean, I think going back to Jan's point, what Hansi Flick did something very similar at Bayern. He came in, understood what he had and how to use it properly, and I think he's doing the same at Germany, changing things slowly, using a bit of experience with some younger players mixed in, not too much at any given time.
But why would you still then go for England?
I didn't say I was going for...
Well, it sounded like it. You were still pretty much...
I didn't say it. I didn't... 50-50.
50-50, Burley.
It's like, I don't know. I mean, England, they've had a bad few weeks, but England can turn that on.
But you've told me they've only beaten Germany in a major competition in the last two majors, and that was a Germany that was in transition when it comes to proper opponents.
But Germany are not exactly... I mean, I don't know if you were in Germany at the moment asking the German public if they were going to win the World Cup, they'd all be like, oh yeah.
No, it's only in England that say that. It's only in England that say that they're going to win the World Cup. And when Dan bringing the bets, he always brings some bets with some English teams. I'm wondering, have you got your own brother doing it? Is there a relative doing it? It's always for England.
They're trying to work out where the winning parade will be in England at the moment, but that's on. That's on. I don't know. I mean, I think Hansi Flick it looks to me as if he's got a little bit of the Midas touch. And you look at the two managers, and he's got way more experience in terms of winning trophies.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure. I certainly don't have Germany where they are in the odds and England where they are. It's a lot closer than.
Who would your money be on between Germany
50,
and England,
50.
Jan? Don't say 50.
60-50. What I would say is that when I see the German team, is that Hansi Flick knows how to use his players better. I mean, Müller today scoring goal. You know, when he goes to the World Cup, we will score 2, 3, 4 goals. When England, well, Kane will score some goals, maybe. But for me, it's the defence.
Kane was top goal scorer at the last World Cup. I don't think you can just dismiss him in that way.
I said Kane will score goals at the World Cup.
In a very dismissive way.
Yeah, because I wanted to highlight the queue behind him. I can't see many England players scoring so many goals at the World Cup. But the main thing for me is that when I see the game of England today, I mean, you shouldn't do the compare today maybe, but I love that balance in the German team. And you see good coaches, they always look for that balance. And with Kimmich, Gundogan and Goretzka, you have so many different options there. The lack of goals with Timo Werner now getting the confidence, hopefully he can stay on that line. I think he needs a holiday now, and I think he loved to go into the holiday with a couple of German goals, because the Chelsea goals can be counted on not many hands.
I think we all need a holiday, to be honest. Hey, how many penalties will he get? That's the question. He's always getting penalties. You're throwing the baby out with the bathwater here. You're in punter mode.
How am I in punter mode?
Well,
what's happened?
Because England are now terrible.
You just said they're terrible.
No, I didn't. I said we're terrible today.
Right.
Do I think they'll win the World Cup? No, I don't.
Okay, that's it.
But I think that's only my opinion. But I think there is a substantial pressure on Southgate because of the squad. Now, the squad is a way more... when it gets to the World Cup, this team today will have no reflection on the team that goes out in the first match of the World Cup, unless there's a host of injuries. In fact, some of these players might not even be in the squad when it's all shaken out. So I understand the negativity, and I suppose I'm part of that. But when England take the field with, Walker and Stones, and I'm going to say it, Maguire, because he's been okay for England. He's been horrible for Man United, but he's been okay for England. A fit left back, and when the midfield comes back to full strength, and that certainly wasn't it, and the front line's back to full strength, it's certainly looking a lot better and stronger, and I think that's what brings the pressure on Southgate. It's easier for him to shake this off tonight. It's easier for Roberto Mancini to shake it off. In some sense, I think managers do it on purpose sometimes. Let's just throw in a few. Let's just throw in a few kids, and if it goes wrong, I'll say, well, we made some changes. Right. This is not my 11. So it kind of takes the pressure off a little bit, and I think that's what some of these managers at this time of the year are probably doing, giving a bit of experience out, and it gives them a bit of a parachute from criticism.
The World Cup, of course. Oh, go on, Jan. I was going to wrap it up.
No, I'm just saying, because it can be discussed what the managers do. If they play with the best team and losing to Hungary today, it will be much more worry, and so on and so on and so on. But when you think of England, and Dan, you were saying 2 games to go, there are some months now coming up to the World Cup. You don't need this time to talk about Gareth Southgate. He wanted to win today. Yes, they're throwing in some players, but I think that is more that coaches sometimes get his God syndrome feeling that they think they can play with anyone. You can get any young players in the world to make a penalty shootout and so on and so on. Sometimes coaches do that. And by the way, you can't compare it with Mancini because he's not going to the World Cup, so that you can't compare it with.
Yeah, there we go. World Cup kicks off in November. Right, that's it. We've got a YouTube. Just a reminder, if you haven't subscribed yet, plenty of content over there for you to enjoy. Just go to ESPNFC. King Haaland then has arrived at Manchester City, very much looking at home on his throne. Now, speaking of royalty, Jan, maybe it's best for you to explain exactly what's going on in these pictures we're about to show you.
Well, yes, this is the day he was the king of Manchester City. We took him, and with the team Haaland, we took him to the Crown Prince family, and we played a game, and it was fantastic. One princess, one prince, Crown Prince and Crown Princess. And this is the 7th time we're doing that together with the royal family, and we're doing it's a charity game for children with learning difficulties, and fantastic. This was the day after he scored 2 goals against Sweden, and the girl who's doing the selfie there is our Crown Princess, and more or less the whole team Haaland and the whole family as well. His dad played, Alfie Haaland played, Craig, so you can imagine there was intensity in the game, and we also had Graham Hansen from our women's team, so fantastic thing that we do. We've done this for in the 7th time we've done it, and Erling was on fire, but he couldn't score, so we lost 10-9, which was terrible.
Couldn't score.
The pressure's got to him already.
City have signed a dud. Do you know the one thing I was looking at in that picture, Jan? And I'm hoping that you were leaning over a little bit, because Erling Haaland looked as if he was about 8 inches taller than you. And you're not the smallest guy.
No, I'm leaning over a bit. It's because I didn't want them to show my proper body, so I tried to come over.
I see.
It's this one, look.
Yes.
No, I'm leaning a bit over, but
there you go.
God.
Jan, how come you're playing in goal?
Because he can't play outside.
Exactly, that is because my right knee told me, Jan, don't play outside. We're playing on sand. We're playing at the residence of the royal family, and we're just playing in the entrance where the cars are coming in.
What happened was they saw some video of Jan at Middlesbrough and Swindon playing up front. And I said, no,
that's all right. We'll
get him in.
We'll stick you in goal. Jan, it's the first time actually you've been on since Erling Haaland. No, not signed for Manchester City. Matched your record of goals at international level. I wonder if that was something maybe you brought up and just said, hey, hold your horses now, 20 is enough.
It is enough, and you've seen some good strikers there, and you see Jürgen Juve, he's from the 30s, and obviously not alive anymore, but he would have been afraid, because you just know that Erling Haaland, I was wondering, would he take it in this game against Sweden? My son tweeted, Jan, you're on the same level, yeah, but not for many minutes. He will break all records, Erling Haaland. The 4 games he played, now talking about tired players, we talked about his injury that he had this season. He was on fire. I saw 2 of them live. I saw the whole 4 games, of course. He was so good in these games, and especially against Sweden, he was on fire.
Yeah, and I can only imagine if we had an English striker or a Scottish striker who was at this level. The problem... go on. Go on if your point's more important. No, if your point's more important.
It's clearly going to be something marvellous.
No, just...
if there was England have got a striker like that, it's called Harry Kane.
No, it's not. Harry Kane isn't...
No.
Harry Kane...
Shut up. Harry Kane is a world-class striker. Yes or no?
Who would I prefer in my team? Erling Haaland.
Okay. But at one point we were talking about Lewandowski and Kane.
Right. Can we get to my point?
Well, please.
Like in my generation, like maybe Michael Owen is an argument. Scotland, no, not really. To have someone of that level.
Hold on. Hold on. Jan, whoa. Yeah. Michael Owen, Alan Shearer.
Alan Shearer was never in a conversation as one of the best players in the world. This is where I'm going with this. Was he?
Shearer was one of the best strikers on the planet.
Was he one of the best players in the world?
And then we go to Scotland over the years, where we've had some of the greatest strikers. So your point is just going to be
Here's the point that I'm trying to make, Jan. The excitement around not only football fans, but I imagine Norwegians as a whole, to have someone like Erling Haaland, the best in his game, as one of them, must be exceptional at the moment.
Yeah, but because it's, I will come back to your point, for Craig, because I remember Kenny Dalglish. He was a good striker for England, Scotland.
I was trying to save him, Jan. But he ploughed on regardless.
Yeah, Craig, I will come back to that. But I want you to put it in a perspective how it is here in Norway, because in the stadium now we can only get in 26,000 at Ullevål. We beat Sweden away. And then we play Sweden at home, and Sweden said, with so many injuries, they had one centre half that was injured, and they start making excuses. And then we go into the stadium. I mean, even I got 3 kids, and even my 2 girls wanted to go to the stadium, and that is an achievement. Although my youngest said, I'm so excited to go to the game. Who are we playing? That is another story. But listen, when I went to this stadium today, what Erling Haaland and also Martin Ødegaard being a captain, he's 23 now and got 44 or 45 caps. He will also beat some records. But Erling Haaland, they could have sold that. They could have sold 60, 70. And we are a ski nation, but we are also only 5 million people here, and this week we had a guy in Paris in the final at tennis. We have Victor Hovland, we have Erling Haaland, and when we see him now being a world-class player, going to his dad's club, and by the way, yesterday was 22 years since his dad signed for Manchester City, and so on and so on. So I interviewed the guys after the game we had yesterday, and I said, I'm standing here with 2 crown princes. One he will get Norway, and the other one will go after his dad at Manchester City. So it's all about Erling Haaland now. And the way the treatment or the attitude he had on these national games was unbelievable. I mean, then he can go with private jet, or he can do with pyjamas. He can do whatever he wants as long as he scores goals for 20 goals in 21 games or something. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, Jan, I don't care if Norway's got the downhill slalom champion or not, or whatever. I don't care. You've just slighted years and years of English and Scottish football in one sentence.
But listen to that furore around here's my point. That the furore around one player is something we've never seen in our certainly,
because the other teams had lots of superstars at one point. Norway at one point were 5th in the world as a team.
Second.
When we played them at the World Cup, have I mentioned that?
Yes,
yeah. But 94, Craig, second.
Right, but what I'm saying is they haven't got that now. And so he is this big superstar. I'll give you that, he is a superstar, but you can't be saying England and Scotland, I've never had... You just can't be... There's no parallels. But the trouble is the supporting cast. Now, it may get better for them.
But I'm not talking about Norway as a whole. I'm just talking about having a superstar at that level. A superstar now who's playing at Manchester City.
Yeah, but even for a superstar, I don't know what your point is, because, Argentina had a superstar way above and beyond what Haaland is at the moment. Might not be what he becomes. What's your point? They had this guy.
It's just an exciting point. That's all my point I'm making. That's it.
I understand.
That's where we are.
Craig, I understand.
When's the World Cup of excitement coming then? Let's talk about that. Or should we talk about results and performances? Go on, Jan.
Craig,
spare me this guy.
The World Cup of excitement, Craig. I'm not sure you will get into the squad. But
listen. Don't you? You're judging people. No. You're very judgmental from afar.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sorry, Craig.
Jan, how much did you talk to him about Manchester City and about how?
Are we still talking about Haaland?
Of course we blooming are. Yes, he's just joined Manchester City.
Well, he said, Dan, when you're interviewing 4 royals and Erling Haaland, and you saw that picture of the king, there are some things when I think there was 27 different media houses waiting for that I would go to do that interview. So was it just general? I looked forward to do it. And one of my questions, well, if you play like you did today, are you sure that Pep Guardiola got his right player? And he said, no, I'm not sure about that. But what I do understand, Craig, it was hard to find the point that Dan was doing, because you kind of took him off halfway through it. But
I was trying to save him, Jan. I was trying to save him.
Yeah, but if you compare it But if you compare it with nations like ours, we don't. I mean, you could say that David Beckham and that golden generation of all the Manchester United players, Alan Shearer and all that, because but you guys, you have a history. Maybe not Scotland as much as England, but you got a history.
God.
We don't have a history. We played our first national game in 1908, and this is the.
Well, that's historic.
Yeah, that is historic, but still, we never had this kind of player in Norway. And that is, it puts a lot of challenges to everything about the media, by the fans, how close you're going to be to him, and so on and so on. So I would say that, we said that many times before, Craig, both Erling Haaland and Mbappe, it's like superheroes. It's like cartoons somehow, how they're doing it. And you should have seen Sweden. They couldn't handle him. They had no chance to handle him.
Jan, is there any fear that he's going to struggle to fit in at City?
Well, that's for me, it's another discussion, because he's coming into a new way of playing, to a new league, to a different media situation, pressure and so on. That is another thing. This is not a machine. This is just a football player, young football players going to Manchester City. But when you had the possible Manchester City team there, I'm not using the best metaphor in the world, but if you go into a restaurant and you see all the waiters going around there, in that team, they will serve him so many balls that I'm 100% sure that he will get a lot of goals in the English Premiership.
Any concern this won't work?
Oh, no. No. I mean, he can take him in and out of the team. He can play without a striker. Can give him a rest. It's like, no. He's got everything. Everything. Powerful, balls in the box, knocking defenders around. He's going to get as many chances. There's only two teams that get as many chances at is Man City and Liverpool in England. Chelsea at one point, before they started going backwards, they're more a possession team. But no, I don't. I would be shocked if he doesn't hit the ground running.
Right.
I mean, let's not forget, the Premier League is a great league, but it is very PR savvy. There are a lot of bad defenders in the Premier League. A lot of bad defenders. It's not like he's moving from Germany, where they understand the tactics of the game in Germany. They understand how to defend. It's not like he's moving into a league that's, all of a sudden they have, the Berezis of the world. You know what I mean? Like it's just not. Once you step out with the top two or three, you look at the defence, the struggles of the Arsenal. You look at the defensive deficiencies at Tottenham. You look at Everton, who've been hopeless defensively. Clubs that have spent a lot of money. It shouldn't be difficult for him to bash some of these bang average defenders around, the same as he's been doing in the Bundesliga, in a better team than he's been playing in the Bundesliga. The big question will be, if it's a tight title race, and if we're talking domestically, if it's a tight title race and there's at least two teams in it, is what's he going to do in the big games that matters?
Right.
People are not fussed if he bashes, 6 goals past Burnley or whatever it is. Yeah, it'll be a headline. But the big question mark is if the Premier League is tight next year, and that is another big question, how will he show up in those games that really, really matter? And that's ultimately what they're paying him for.
Will City have to adapt to him at all, Jan?
Yeah, I think they have somehow, but there's a lot of pundits talking about he won't fit into Pep Guardiola. Well, Pep Guardiola think he will fit in, so he will find a way to get him in there. And the thing is that Manchester City have been a lot of talk about passion, and you can't compare them with Manchester United or Liverpool or whatever. But what is quite interesting, when I talked to him yesterday in the official interview we did, is his love for Manchester City. And now he could say that. I mean, the team Haaland, they were doing all these kind of things. And maybe with Benzema didn't have that season, maybe Real Madrid will further ahead and they will get Haaland. But he's now so open about Manchester City being his favourite team all his life, since he was a kid, talking about the memory he had when he come back there with his dad, his old place. And so Manchester City, and that is quite unlikely in these. Of course, there's a lot of money and all that kind of thing, but Manchester City will get a player who loves Manchester City, and that is quite rare in these mad times of football.
There's too many negative people out there. Stop laughing. Because you always look at me when I say that.
Well, yes.
But there's people. I think with this transfer in particular, because of the success of City, because of the ownership, because of the manager and the money, I think there are people, like pundits out there, people, supporters, whatever you want to call them, look at them. They're almost looking at reasons for this to fail,
right,
rather than understanding how it will work. Look, there was success at Man City with a striker in Sergio Aguero. Now, was he the apple of Guardiola's eye? No, he wasn't. When Guardiola first arrived, the talk was he was going to out Aguero because of his off-the-pitch antics, his lifestyle, his professionalism. But he stayed. Didn't always play, but played a huge part up until the final year or so. Haaland's got more. He's got more pace. I mean, Aguero was a brilliant goal scorer, don't get me wrong. But Haaland's got more physical prowess. He holds the ball up better because of his frame. He's just as quicker, if not quicker, and he offers a threat in the box. So a big threat in the box. So if it worked at one point with Sergio Aguero, why are people trying to find reasons this won't work rather than understand how it will work? Which I think clearly the manager of Manchester City, and I think most people with a half a brain in their head, know it will.
More from Mr. Positivity and Jan, and indeed Shaka as well on the latest edition of Extra Time. You can check that out, as always, over on our YouTube channel. It's official, Darwin Nunez is a Liverpool player. 100 million euros, if you include add-ons, has been reported of the fee that they have paid Benfica for the 22-year-old striker. Shaka Hislop with us, Jan Fjortov as well. Jan, good deal in your opinion?
It is, and I think the Liverpool has been good at doing good and great deals. They got a great mixture of buying players, make them better, and when they give out a lot of money, they with Van Dijk, with Alisson Becker, they seem to hit, and Nunez will do different things for them. You'll find that Mane will go out and Nunez come in. Will they be worse? Will they be worse off? I'm not sure. I think that this quality will fit in there. And I got so much praise for Liverpool's recruitment over the last season that I think they'll hit it again.
To that point, though, if you're saying you're going to come in and fill in for Mane, they're big shoes to fill, given what he's given the club over the last few seasons and how far they've gone with him in the starting 11.
He'll probably play most of the time as a natural striker, and it'll be Diaz or Jota or whatever happens to Salah. That's what they'll do. This is another signing, along with the Haaland one, where I've heard quite a lot of these people who just crawl out the woodwork and say, oh, I don't think he'll fit in. This fit-in brigade has sort of popped up and raised its head.
Right. Good
players generally, really, really good players generally fit in. One, he has every attribute, a bit like Haaland to an extent, but not quite at that level, certainly not at the moment. Big and physical, great touch, two-footed, can play wide but scores goals on both feet, inside and out. I've seen him score some great goals from 20-25 yards, top corner. I've also seen him score goals where he's in bang, attacking balls in the box. Stevie and I talked about this during a couple of the shows a few weeks ago. For all Liverpool's great play and City's great play, they both want to get an out-and-out striker, a front man. Maybe they can do a little bit of other things, but both teams that were top of the tree in England and have been for 2 or 3 years now, both want this kind of player. It's an option. And I just don't get this. Oh, I'll be struggling to fit in. Anybody who scores goals at that level fits in. And that includes this guy. And as Jan said, Liverpool's recruitment, really, in the last few years, they haven't got too many wrong.
Yeah. Shaka, are you part of the fit-in brigade? Jan, you've talked a lot today. Let Shaka talk. Shaka, are you part of the fit-in?
Okay, sorry. No, sorry, but I just a reply to what he said, because it's interesting how close these teams are, and they both seem the need to get a proper number 9. And that's what I want to say, this tight team, and they kind of do it on the same period of the season.
All right, Shaq, you're done now. You can go.
No time for Shaq.
No time for Shaq.
As Shaq, are you part of the fit-in brigade? Yes, you concur indeed.
I don't think I've ever been called part of the fit-in brigade, but I'm in agreement with both Craig and Jan. Jurgen Klopp has got his transfer business absolutely right. Just about the only player who's come in for any criticism in coming into Anfield has been Thiago, and you've seen how important he's been over the last 6 or 12 months. So that criticism has died down as well. I see absolutely no reason to think anything different of Darwin Nunez coming in, given both Mane's and Salah's ages. It's a good signing, especially considering his age.
You mentioned it before, Jan. What does this mean for Mane now?
Well, I mean, who should you believe in this saga? What I do believe, if it's right, now I talked before the show to some Germans insiders from Munich, and they say, no, Bayern will have another offer. I mean, I thought that these kind of things that are going on now between Bayern Munich and Liverpool, that died out like 20 years ago in some marketplace somewhere in Europe, that if I say 20, you say 40, can we end up on 30? And okay, we do 32. Okay, we go down to 39. So it's a funny this dealing between Liverpool and Bayern Munich. But it's said that he's destined to go to Germany. Listen, he played in Salzburg. We tend to forget that Mane was there. He kind of know the culture. He will know about the greatness of Bayern Munich. So it seems that he will go there. If not, he will not be hijacked from some of the big spenders at the end here.
So will we see Nagelsmann almost play without a number 9 then, if Mane comes in, Jan, to replace Lewandowski?
Yes, when you see this team, I have Gnabry out here. I put Coman in, and Mane and Müller will kind of swap around. Going the other way that Liverpool and Manchester City do, because they want a proper number 9. And then you see the defense with the new guy from Ajax, Mazraoui. Gravenberch, I haven't put into this team yet because it's going to be tough for him to get into this Bayern Munich team. But as an old striker, I always want a number 9 there. So I don't think this is I think they missed a number 9.
Meanwhile...
Oh, get caught with these cheap glasses on. Take them off.
What were you looking up? Were you not listening to Jan's comment about where Mane was going to play?
No, I caught it all. I didn't catch it all. I just had a little check on my phone.
Meanwhile, Jan, of course, we've talked a lot about exciting strikers, 2 of them making big moves. Where do we stand on the future of Nkunku, who, of course, was amazing last season?
There is no clause in his contract. Red Bull and RB Leipzig, they will build on him. And then he, as a lot of the other players, when they come away from their club, they say, yeah, let's see what's happening this summer. I can't see him going. And I can't see him striking his way out of the club because he's not trying to do a Lewandowski yet. So I think that he looks like he could be staying, but he had a fantastic season. Maybe it could be one of them. There is something that will happen now with Lewandowski. Where will he go? Will he go to Barcelona? If he's not going to Barcelona, could they go after this man? But he will be even more. He will cost more than Lewandowski in terms of fee, about his age. Fantastic player, and he could be a joker in the transfer period coming into the last 2 months.
What I don't understand, Jan, why were his numbers so, let's be honest, poor the 2 years before and so good now? Is it age or maturity or coaching?
Well, he used to have Julian Nagelsmann, was not a bad coach either.
His goals tally was really low compared to, I mean, obviously, that's a big job.
Absolutely, yeah, and he is. If we have a prize for the most progress in the season in Germany, he's a big time number 1. And thinking of, they took Silva in from Frankfurt, who was supposed to score the goals, and it was Nkunku who did it. So it's a lot of confidence. It's a lot of being more mature. So fantastic season.
Meanwhile, Jan, finally, as you're here, United linked with Christian Eriksen.
Yes, and it was funny. The other day I was talking to someone how Manchester United messed it up the last time because they tried to get him before he went to Inter, and now they're trying again. And I had a go at Twitter, but people having a go at me because I said, if they take Eriksen, will it done? Is that the De Jong deal off? And I said, no, but it's not the same type of player. But when you think of all the leaks that Ten Hag have to go after, I mean, you think that could they get both Eriksen and De Jong for midfield? Will they spend all the money there? Having said that, Christian Eriksen is free, and there's a lot of clubs after him. And yes, He should be on a club like Manchester United's list.
He put on some brilliant performances for Brentford. I mean, don't forget he played in Holland for quite a time at Ajax. So although he didn't work under Ten Hag, obviously he's seen a lot of him. I mean, he's seen a lot of him wherever he's played. But I would imagine he's got some sort of relationship with the player, possibly. So yeah, it kind of makes sense. You're not just buying a first 11, you're bolstering a squad.
Right.
So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happened. And yeah, and I'll give you some advice. Don't argue with these Twitter people. You might as well just bark at the moon, honestly. Waste of time.
Shaka, Eriksen to United, does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. Given how good Christian Eriksen has been, the whole story around him still makes me a little bit nervous. But every time he plays, some of those nerves start to go away. And as Craig rightly points out, and as we've said for quite some time, United need a lot if they are to start competing anywhere near where they hope to be, never mind challenging the top two. Having both those players, I think, is a plus for United.
A lot more on this, of course, as it develops throughout the summer. As always, we'll be keeping an eye on everything that develops in the transfer market, and you can keep up to date with it all on our daily podcast, which is available over on the website. Speaking of the World Cup, playoff today between Costa Rica and New Zealand for the final place in Qatar. 3 minutes on the clock, and it's Joel Campbell who makes it 1-0.
Oh, I mean, he doesn't get good contact, but I mean, it's his desire to get there. I mean, if I'm a New Zealand defender, I've got to see him coming and make a challenge.
Now, controversy here, as New Zealand would score, Chris Wood with the goal. However...
Looks good to me. Are they going to give a foul?
Yes, they're going to take it back. They're going to bring it all the way back before the cross was put in for the foul here.
I need to see it again, I'll be honest.
20 minutes to go in the game. New Zealand down to 10 men. Barusis gets shown a yellow.
Oh, yeah, it's a bad challenge.
But it is upgraded to a red. And Costa Rica then make it through to the World Cup. Navas loving it. New Zealand out. And their prize? Well, they're in a group with Spain, Germany and Japan. Wow. What a group that is for them. Shaka, you focused on this game. Did Costa Rica deserve it?
No, they didn't, in all honesty. Given the start that they had, scoring after, 2 minutes, I thought they'd just romp away with it. But it was anything but. And New Zealand dominated. I have to say, I agree with the two big decisions in the game. The disallowing of the goal, the only question for me about that was how far back before the goal goes. But I thought it was a foul. I thought the challenge was a red card as well. The referee went over to the screen to review both of those, so I'm in total agreement. But to put things in perspective, the goal was the only shot that Costa Rica had in the first half. And in all honesty, Keylor Navas was Costa Rica's man of the match, without question. Even down to 10 men, New Zealand dominated. Costa Rica feel very lucky. New Zealand have to be wondering what else they have to do to qualify.
From one goalkeeper to another, Shaq, of course, 24 hours earlier, we saw Australia book a place in the World Cup after the shenanigans from the Aussie goalkeeper in the penalty shootout. What did you make of this?
I loved it. Listen, you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to move along the line. You're allowed to try to distract the opponent, the penalty taker, as long as you do stay on the line. And I thought it was great, and it worked. There's always a thin line, because if Australia don't qualify, you end up looking the fool. But they qualify, and I think you have to go exactly the opposite. Give them full praise for it, for having the bravery to pull it off.
Why didn't you do that then, Shaq?
Too lazy.
That's too much running for me, Dan.
I watched the game with Stevie. He hated it. Look at that clown. Look at what he's doing.
Of course he hated it. It wasn't shepherd's pie.
Oh, see, I loved it. I loved it.
But I don't understand. I haven't got. Look, it looks a bit silly, but it's when you're at that stage, it's a game of bluff.
Right.
Right, between you as the penalty taker And it's in your head, oh my God, am I the one that's going to miss? The goalkeeper is trying everything to put you off. We're talking about going to a World Cup here. It's a psychological battle.
You took penalties, obviously. Would this put you off?
Yes, it would put me off.
Would it really?
What it would do is, I used to sometimes change my mind at the last minute, and sometimes it worked, sometimes it didn't. But it would certainly put a doubt in my mind if I'd made it up beforehand where I was going to put it, to where his position was going to be by the time of impact. I may have just changed my mind. So yeah, it's a psychological battle, one in which he won.
Can I just say here, Dan, as far as that goes, and putting the penalty taker off, Craig was a penalty taker for Chelsea, as was Frank. They were first choice takers. But your mentality as a goalkeeper in a penalty shootout situation is totally different. You have to remember 1 or 2 of those players take penalties regularly. The other 3 don't. So anything like that, whereas it mightn't put off the number 1 penalty taker, the first choice, it may very well put off the other 3, and that's who you're focused on.
You're going to get a phone call tonight from Stevie. He's going to watch this show. As soon as he's had 1 beer, he'll phone up and go, they're talking nonsense. You know you are.
Jan, what do you stand on this?
I stand on this that you have to win the game, you have to qualify, then everything is magic. And I mean, that's how you make heroes. I mean, when I saw him, I'm thinking back to Bruce Grobbelaar, did that in the European Cup final, did all his shaking Stevens' legs. So I think Shaka is doing a good point there, that there are penalty takers there who are not used to that, to do that penalties. Letizier, who was probably the best, Eric Cantona of my generation, they wouldn't care. But the insecure ones, we're talking about the World Cup plays, they will have trouble. And when you get a madman like that in, dancing around in a goal, you will think twice, should I be as cool as I used to do? Should I, he's running to the side that I want to kick the ball. Should I go the other side? And so on and so on. Yes. So this is a high-risk poker game, and the goalkeeper won.
Do you remember when Giroud scored that back flick goal?
Yes.
He didn't like that either.
No, he said that it was lucky.
No, that should be the question.
Look at
what does he like?
Well, shepherd's pie.
Yeah, I know that.
Eleanor's cooking. That's it. Well done, steak. That is it. That brings us to the end of today's show.
Goalies. There's always goalies involved. They're stupid, but we just have to accept that.
Right, good. Yes, excellent. Well, our goalkeeper will be back for extra time. Jan as well. Craig will be with us as well.
Oh, don't sound so enthusiastic.
Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Craig Burley with us here in the studio, Shaka Hislop as well. And Jan, do we have to start off with an apology, Jan, to your mother, because she's waiting for us to finish so she can use that room to go to bed?
Well, here's the story. I'm in a guest room having my studio, and they're sleeping here. She has her birthday. I've done all the thing that a son should do, took them out and everything, but I had to put them out of the guest room. So it's over midnight here in Norway, and they're probably sleeping somewhere on a sofa.
Well, they are if they're watching this.
How can you let his mum sleep in the room with all these
all his memorabilia?
All his memorabilia.
No, it's
now we've got two rooms. Got to be said, this is a part of the room. As you know, Craig, I would probably live in a castle as to how much I earn in big clubs in England.
Wow, there you go, big room. Wow. And which is exactly the opposite that Shaka has, because we've
got a very noisy house.
We've been delayed today because a plane was flying over Shaka's house at one stage. Obviously, you can clearly see the air conditioning's not on again.
Shaq, there was another noise. There was another noise after the plane went over. There was another one. What was that?
Submarine.
I have no idea. I'm the only person home, so I couldn't tell you.
His table looks like that lamp is about to fall over as well. Everything's on a stand.
Because the table was cheap.
Right, yes, there we go.
Legs are shorter than the other.
Right, let's get on with this so that Jan's mum can go to bed.
That's a good table.
Craig, Salah is second in the odds for Golden Boot, but do you think Liverpool signing Nunez will take goals away from Salah?
Well, do you want me to come at it from a Liverpool perspective? They'll not care.
Right.
They don't care where the goals come from as long as they get them. No, I mean, it shouldn't really, because a lot of Salah's goals are individual goals. Of course, they went through a little phase there, how much truth in it or not, a year or two ago, is that him and Manny went past each other in the final third. I don't know if that was true or not. But I'm sure that won't come into Salah's mindset.
Right.
That, oh yeah, I'm worried about my goals. I mean, surely, when you're playing the team, if Darwin Nunez comes in and gets 35 goals and Mo Salah only gets 15, that's not a drama, is it?
For Jan, how many goals will Haaland score for Norway until he finishes his career? Of course, he matched you this weekend, didn't he, with 20?
Must be a big day for him matching me in the calendar. He got 14 years now to beat me. I think that he will have a chance to do it. Interesting, because you see there in international level, I mean, a Kane, a Rooney, a Lineker, a Bobby Charlton will be around 50. You see some Germans like Costa, Gerd Müller, of course, getting 60, 70. The problem is, of course, how good the Norwegian national team is. But he showed now in the 4 Nation League games, we scored 5 goals. He made 4 of them and made 1 assist. He's the penalty taker. He could end up getting 50, 60 goals for Norway. Our record, by the way, is 33. That was a guy called Jørgen Juve. There was a big story about him in Norway now when Haaland is chasing him. And he had a fantastic career as a journalist, and he married the first Miss Norway in 1952. She's still alive, 93, and she told the story. Fantastic.
Well done. Congratulations, Miss Norway. Shaka, seeing Lukaku, who we all know is a good striker despite his form, failure to adapt to Tuchel's plan, who do you think in the market right now would fit? And Tuchel's Chelsea side, what sort of striker would make that team better?
Lewandowski, is that too easy an answer?
No, you can say that, Shank.
No, good answer.
Well, I'll go with Lewandowski.
OK, then.
Easy.
Jan, as someone who is fond of hair, whose hair will struggle more in the Premier League weather? Nunez or Haaland? And will their bad hair days impact their scoring?
Shank Open Netter, if that is your proper name, that is not a proper question. But Haaland is changing his hair with this ponytail of his. Nunez in Liverpool, I think it will be harder for him because, well, he got to score a goal with that hair in Liverpool.
Right.
When Haaland, he started to pull his. No, obviously not a hair specialist.
Well,
Try. Don't say anything that's going to be.
I wouldn't say anything derogatory.
Upset me. I'm
Positive
I'm
today.
upset very easily.
Yep.
He's been pulling.
Very precious about your hairs.
I'm not precious about my hair.
Hairs.
There's lots of it, just in the wrong areas. There's he swept it back. It was
Right. Yep.
Looked even meaner than he.
Right.
He's like
Yeah.
tough look.
Superhero.
Oh,
Superhero.
There you are. OK.
what's wrong with people? You're infatuated with hair. When Robbo comes on, he's got none, obviously.
This is a question about hair. Hi, everyone.
Yeah.
What soccer moment do you relive in your dreams?
Oh, wait.
Great question. Oh, yes.
Shut up.
I haven't said anything.
So I'm smart, Alec.
No.
What soccer
Yeah.
moment?
Yes, yeah.
Too many.
Too many?
To be honest, there's been a few.
Do you think about the good ones or the bad ones?
Yeah, good question.
Listen. Positive thinking.
Positive thinking.
Yeah.
World Cup 98.
Look back. No such a thing as looking
Scotland,
back.
Norway. There it is.
Scotland, Norway was a big moment.
Yes.
World Cup.
Last person to
Yeah.
score for Scotland in the
Fifth
World
best
Cup.
team in the world at the time. Outplayed them. To be fair, outplayed them.
Right.
But no, I mean, I don't think about it that often.
No.
25 times a day.
It's like you're going at Anfield. Have you seen this, Dan? Yes.
You've not seen that?
Yes, I've seen
I
the
tell you what, it's
goal.
one of the best ever goals. Scored at the Cop End at Anfield. No, I don't know. I don't know. Luckily, it was a few. Goal in the Old Firm. Yeah.
Yep.
They're
Yeah.
all just.
Yeah, I will-
Eintracht Frankfurt saved them from relegation.
Yeah, that is a good one. But I'm going to the national team. By the way, I didn't play that game where Craig Burley beat at the World Cup. I didn't play that game. Just for the record. But
Get that up in Norwegian.
If because Craig is so positive today, I will be the negative one. And I think in one chance that I had, we played the Czech Republic at home. We were 1-0 up. It was a qualification for the '96 Euros. We had a great team. 1-0. I got the ball. and I waited, got the keeper down, chipped it and hit his shoulder. If I scored there, we would have qualified for the European Championship, and then it was 1-1 and we lost in the playoffs. So that was the negative thing. Yeah, I relive that sometimes.
Shaq's got to be the Gerrard goal, isn't it?
Oh, no.
Oh, that's sad.
Why did you bring that up? I thought you missed the positivity.
I'm being positive about it. There's nothing
positive about that goal.
Nothing Shaka could have
Ronaldo's first goal.
There's nothing Shaka could have done about it once he dived over the top of it. Nothing. So, be positive. Move on.
Where are we going, Shaq? 2006 World Cup, Sweden?
I'm going for my towering assist to Anton Ferdinand against Spurs.
Oh my God, if you haven't seen this, go on YouTube, look at Anton Ferdinand's late goal, and you'll see Shaka ducking out the way of the ball completely.
What did he do, right?
It was vision, Dan.
And the ball's coming at him.
Vision, and saw Anton in a better position.
We used to do that with crosses. I mean, it's the same thing.
Exactly.
Go, ball. Oh, what's that?
Final question.
Was that before he stabbed his international teammate in the back to get his place back for the World Cup?
Place in the World Cup. Dear, right. Final question.
Dear. What?
For all in honour of Dan's School of Smarty Pants, which Stevie has coined now because of the comments that I've made to him over recent weeks, what are his best and worst qualities? Oh, what a great set-up question this is. I know, we got time. We've got time to answer that, haven't we?
Well, yeah. Well,
it's all good
I
qualities.
think we actually have. We can elongate this segment.
No.
The best and his worst qualities, well, your dress sense.
Beautiful.
Certainly not up there.
Nice.
That's for sure.
Lovely.
You know, you can't dress.
Yes.
I mean,
good.
That's
worse, right? Best, something nice. You got to say something nice.
Yeah, your height.
My height.
Your tallness. That's a word. I mean, he's sat on a cushion now. For those people at home that can't see, he's two cushion Dan.
5'9".
Oh,
I am.
You're 5'9" on horseback. That's all you are. 5'9" when you're sat in a horse.
It's a miserable world, Craig, with the gallon of prices of oil and everything, and it is war and its prices going up. But tonight you were so positive, and then just at the end, you lost it.
You missed the. It was when it wasn't. I was positive up until I seen you pair coming on.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, not the noises from Shaka's house again, and Jan talking about his mum in Norway.
Oh, that's nice. Happy birthday to Jan's
Thank you.
mum.
Thank you.
He should have. Wait. He should have said no to this programme tonight. If he'd anything about him, and taken his mother out and treated.
He's already taken her out. He said.
I did. I took her out to a great restaurant. We had Italian. I bought her a champagne.
Don't have Italian restaurants in Norway. What are you talking about?
Italian restaurants in Norway.
Yeah. No, I should have gone to a Scottish restaurant.
I've been to Norway. I've never saw an Italian restaurant there.
Okay.
No, because only you. Well, I tell you what, because the British players only knew about one place in Oslo, and if Craig wants me to go there, he doesn't want me to go there. That is Smuge, where they always went.
Okay, well, let's not.
I wasn't in Oslo, it was Kongsvinger. That's another story.
Okay.
Right, we want to go. Listen,
We're done. Shut up.
You're going out tonight. That's the real reason.
That's it.
Unprofessional.
What do you mean unprofessional?
You're trying to cut this segment short.
We're going to have for dinner tonight. It'd be nice. Not Italian. We will be back tomorrow.
Are you having a Norwegian?
No Norwegian, no. Abachi, get that volcano going. Here we go.
Didn't ask me, Dan.
Yeah, Shaq's fine. Don't worry, no time. Bye.
Go and work on your internet.